9:05 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You know, I got the biggest compliment this morning, Mac.
Oh, yay. What was it?
The one and only Ken Weaver said to me, I love that intro with the good morning.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I like that song.
I love it.
When you get the cosign from Ken, you know you're doing something right.
You've made it.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that was Kanye West.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was Kanye.
Good morning. Yeah,
It's
it's
just-
great.
But
Yay.
I mean, it's, and
Oh, yeah,
just
yay.
the instrument there, the instruments going into it, the melody. That's really good. I like it.
I liked it too. I like the fact that Ken was like, that's pretty awesome. He hasn't complimented the show at all.
The content,
But
no.
the intro, he's a big fan of. He said, yeah, you know, my favorite part of your show is the intro.
The intro. Everything after that, downhill. But that intro, man.
Well, you know, we could all agree on that. It does go downhill quick on the Chris Hand show.
You boys stop playing.
So things yesterday were absolutely based after I got off the air. I don't know if you've seen this. What's catching the internet by storm? Jaden out of Colorado Springs, this 12-year-old kid. Have you heard this story?
Man, it was like right after we got off the air. It blew up. I was like,
my gosh, I know. I was like, I wish I was there. All right, so here's what happened. So just to lay it on the ground first, we talked yesterday with Morgan McMichael of Turning Point USA, a contributor with those guys, about, state-sponsored indoctrination in schools, right? And this played perfectly into it. So this 12-year-old kid who is an honor roll student, gets all A's, sharp-looking kid, looks like he has it put together, gets called into the office. And he's pulled out of class. And you're thinking, what is this? What did the kid do wrong? Well, this young man had the audacity, just the gall, if you will, the audacity and the gall to have the Gadsden flag on his backpack. The Gadsden flag. The one that we have hanging in the studio, the one I brought in as a gift for the Super Talk studio, the Don't Tread on Me flag, the famous flag with the rattlesnake, the No Step on Snake flag. This young man had that patch on his backpack. And they said to him, you can't have this in class, young man. The other kids are going to see it. And it originates with slavery. It has to do with the slave trade, is what they said. And this is why it's so important, if you're a parent, to be involved in what's happening in your kids' schools. Because this mom was on point. Not only did she go in there and have her son's back, but she had the wherewithal, the mental acuity, if you will, to strategically position her phone on a baby stroller and hit record. And because she was there and she hit record, is why this moment went viral. So I have this clip for you, and we're gonna dig into it as it goes on. This is Jaden being called into the office and it being explained why the Gadsden flag is so problematic.
Oh, here you go. Thank you. Do they know what the Gadsden flag is? That it's a historical flag?
So the reason that they do not
That's the teacher.
want the flag, the reason we do not want the flag displayed is due to its origins with
The Revolutionary
slavery and slave trade.
Okay, so the teacher's already talking with her hands due to the overarching themes, if you will, and its origins with the slave trade. Luckily, the mom was absolutely based, and she says, with the revolution, with the revolution, the origins with the revolution.
That is what was, that's the reasoning behind them not wanting to display.
The Gadsden flag.
The Don't Tread on Me.
Okay. Which is the Gadsden flag?
The mom is giving the history lesson to the teacher. The Don't Tread on Me, ma'am. Yeah, that's the Gadsden flag. Thank you. The Gadsden flag.
Oh. Okay. So he's what's gonna happen if he doesn't take it off?
He is able to go. I was actually just telling him, like, I was upset that he was missing so much school. I'm like, so.
Oh yeah, she's so upset. I'm upset he's missing so much school. She's all I do is care about the kids. It's about the kids.
I asked if can he just take his stuff out of his bag and go back to class.
Oh, just take it out of your, just hide the bag. Hide the bag. And you can get right back to class, Jaden. Luckily, Jaden was like, nope, hard pass. Hard pass. Go ahead and call my mom.
Like, I just want him to go back to class. The bag can't go back if it's got the patch on it because we can't have that in and around other kids. So
Oh, you can't have symbols of the American Revolution in and around other kids. I'd like to point out, if it happened to be a rainbow flag or a trans flag or a communist flag, this young man probably wouldn't have had any issue. He probably would have gotten high fives. If it was a Black Lives Matter fist, he probably would have got extra credit because that's how the public indoctrination system works these days.
So that's what I was trying, and then he said you were close. So I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with slavery. That's like the Revolutionary War patch that was
Okay.
displayed when they were fighting the British. Like that's the revolution. Maybe you're thinking of like the Confederate Confederate flag.
Okay,
So the teacher doesn't know what to do. The mom's already pushing back. I know I'm going to get a million texts because the Confederate flag doesn't, people will argue that doesn't have to do with slavery either. But, she's saying to the teacher, maybe you're confusing it with that, but this has nothing to do with slavery. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The teacher, clearly, the administrator, doesn't know what to do. She clearly didn't expect this much pushback. She probably thought she was going to give the kid detention or an in-school suspension, and that's not what happened.
I am
Is there
just here
history
to
that you
enforce.
tell me?
No, I am here to enforce the policy that was provided by the district,
Okay.
and definitely you have every right to not agree with it. I mean,
Yeah, because the
absolutely.
ACLU says that he's allowed to wear that. If you go on their website, it's says in big
So
letters.
all I'm saying is that
Unless there's a ban on patches, period. Like if you said there's no patches allowed at the school, you cannot display what you think or anything like that, or what cheer or anything like that. I think it's one-sided, because you allow some patches but not other
Other
patches.
kids have patches like other names and the American flag on their backpacks.
Yeah. That was flown during the revolution with, I just don't understand that at all.
so what I can do is
And
have
if you go onto the
our-
ACLU's website, let's talk to
I
someone.
can
'cause I don't
have
want
you
a
speak
lawsuit. I really
to
don't.
I can have you speak to our Jeff Yoakum
Okay.
again.
Okay.
And then he can refer you to our person at the district.
Okay.
Because, like I said, we're following district policy.
I'm just following orders. After she realizes she has no leg to stand on, she has no factual information backing her, she just leans on the I'm just following orders. Hasn't that gotten us into so much trouble these past couple of years? The just following orders crowd. When I was growing up, I often thought, how were people so silent during Nazis? During Hitler's rise to power, how are people so silent about it? Well, it was people like this administrator, the just following orders crowd. That's how. It's not a surprise to me anymore. And again, I point out the young man who is flying the revolutionary flag, the Gadsden flag. He did nothing wrong. Straight A student, good-looking kid, sharp kid. Not being rude to the administrator, not raising his tone, being polite, respectful, waiting his turn to talk. His mom, absolutely based, has her kids back, as all parents should in this situation. The kid was not out of line. The kid was not arguing with the administrator. It gets better though. So let's finish up this, and then I'll explain to you how this gets better.
Is what we're doing. So the last thing I want is him out of class.
Yeah, I know.
That's all,
He
the last
takes
thing
his
I want.
classes seriously.
Yes.
He studies. He wants to get straight A's. He did that. He made honor roll when he was here before.
Yeah.
He intends to do that again right now, but it's hard because he keeps missing class for this. So
I understand that.
yeah, and we teach him to always stick up for your beliefs. And you're going over the revolution for 7th grade. The founding fathers stood up for what they believed in against unjust laws. This is unjust.
It's absolutely unjust. Based mom for having her kids back. Absolutely based. So They end up sending this kid out of school. I'm not taking off the patch. So I said, you got to go. On the way out, he walks by this commie teacher's car. And the bumper stickers on this commie's car will drive you mad because this is who is inhabiting our public indoctrination system, our public school system. The stickers on the back of this teacher's car. One of them looks like the Texas flag. And you know the old saying, don't mess with Texas. Well, it has a little twist. It says, don't mess with trans kids. Weird. There's another bumper sticker on the back of the car. Make America green again. Oh, weird. So these are the people enforcing this policy. These are the people deeming the Gadsden flag problematic. And the mom goes on to say, you guys are teaching the Revolutionary War this year. How are you teaching this? Well, clearly wrong. They're clearly teaching it wrong. They're probably going off the 1619 project here in Colorado Springs. But kudos to the mom for pushing back. Because of her pushing back, because of her, because of her paying attention and knowing to hit record on the phone, we got this moment. The moment goes viral yesterday. Okay. Everyone's talking about it. I was honestly a little bit bummed that it didn't happen during the show because we could have really dug in on it. People start posting the administrator's phone number, the email saying contact the school. Well, we won. Spoiler alert, we won. The Colorado School Board has overturned this decision and is allowing Jaden now to wear the Don't Tread on Me patch on school grounds. And they actually released a statement. It said yesterday, the student returned with the patch still visible on his backpack following the district's direction. Vanguard administrators pulled the student aside so that they could speak with his parents in the district. Upon learning of these events today, the Vanguard School Board of Directors called an emergency meeting because our voices were heard. From Vanguard's founding, we have proudly supported our Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Order of Liberty that all Americans have enjoyed for almost 250 years. The Vanguard School recognizes the historical significance of the Gadsden flag and its place in history. This incident is an occasion for us to reaffirm our deep commitment to a classical education in support of these American principles. At this time, the school board and the district have informed the student's family that he may attend school with the Gadsden flag patch visible on his backpack. Hallelujah. This is what happens when we push back. This is what happens when we make our voices heard. All is not lost. All is not lost. They try to silence us. They try to bully us. They try to make us think that we're wrong when we're not. And all it takes is our voices and people like you and I to speak up, share videos on social media, make the public aware, and then there's absolutely no stopping us. The silent majority is getting more and more vocal, and we're seeing it every day with incidents like this. But they said the Gadsden flag had origins in the slave trade. Oh, yeah, the slave trade. Thanks, guys. This is the public school system, guys. It's terrible. If you're a parent and you have kids in public schools, you have to be on guard. You have to be on high alert. You have to be going to these PTA meetings. You have to be going to these school board meetings. Even though you'll probably be labeled a domestic terrorist by the FBI, you should still be involved. You should still make your voice heard. 615-737-9986 if you want to be a part of the conversation on the super text line or on the phone line, 615-737-9986. My name is Chris Hand. Shout out to Jaden. I actually texted a picture of Mac to Mac of Jaden.
Yes.
On his backpack, proudly displayed, is the word based.
Based.
Absolutely based.
Jaden is
12-year-old.
based.
Jaden is so based.
Crazy.
And good for him.
Based beyond his years, might I add.
Based beyond his years. Yes. That's hilarious. Way based beyond his years. When I was 12, if a teacher had brought me in for something like that, I wouldn't have been as calm, cool, and collective as based Jaden was. So kudos to him. And kudos to his mom. Get involved in your kid's school district. Go to the PTA meetings. Who cares what the FBI says? They're wrong anyway. It is 9:20 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, it's Chris Hand for the Dr. Gill Center in Franklin. There's so many people out there dealing with pain, gritting through it, pushing through because you don't want to deal with surgery, you don't want to deal with needles, you don't want to deal with pills. I understand that, but I want to tell you there is a solution without those things to cure your pain, and it's at the Dr. Gill Center in Franklin. The Dr. Gill Center in Franklin will deal with any kind of pain you're dealing with: back, neck, knee, hip, elbow. All of it can be treated with no needles and no downtime. And at the Dr. Gill Center, they've been helping people get back to that pain-free life for over 30 years. Right now, the Dr. Gill Center wants to really help you if you're dealing with knee pain. So if you're dealing with knee pain, the next 5 people that call, you're going to get hooked up with an awesome deal. $49 gets you all of your new patient initial exams, x-ray, and a complete review of findings. Less than $50 to find out what's causing your pain. So do what my wife did. Give the Dr. Gill Center in Franklin a call now and begin your journey and becoming pain-free. Call 615-882-4838. That's 615-882-4838. And tell them Chris Hand told you to call. Remember, guys, don't take a pill. Call Dr. Gill.
Hurricane Idalia update. Hawaii wildfires. The aftermath moving to a grim new phase. Details at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 9:26. We were talking about Jaden, the 12-year-old in Colorado Springs, who was removed from class because this kid had the audacity, the gall-dacity, as one super texter put it, to sport the Gadsden flag on his backpack. Unbelievable. Didn't he know? Didn't he know that the Gadsden flag had origins in slavery, in the slave trade? At least that's what his teacher said. And that's why he was removed from class. The school board eventually reversed the decision and allowed base Jaden back into class. JP in Nashville, you have a comment on Jaden and the Gadsden flag. JP, you're on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going? Enjoying the show, and yeah, this hot topic really did have a lot of people's blood boiling. I just really had 2 points. One was I see this trend where there's these administrators that do things, whether it's the city council, a school board, a teacher, whatever, and everybody churns up, and then something gets reversed, but then there's never any direct accountability, no matter what it was.
Yep.
So that's the first point. I would like to see, yes, the statement's great. Thank you. His rights have been reinstated. Wonderful. But who's being held directly accountable for having removed this young man's rights? And then is this teacher getting reprimanded and anybody else that was a part of that? And then
well, she went on. She did say, I'm just following policy. So she's probably going to get
follow orders.
Yep. Just following orders. Nothing wrong with that, right? That's never gotten anybody into any trouble.
Exactly. And so there's that. And then my second point is, the leeriness that people need to have over your kids being in public school. There was this huge we're just not going to send homework home anymore. And it's because the parents were giving pushback on the work that they could see that was coming back, the information, the history lessons. We were getting study guides that were really, really left-leaning, et cetera. And we also noticed that around the same time, parents started pushing back on how things were being taught and what was being taught. The homework just sort of magically disappeared. So it's a red flag. Parents need to be aware. It's not a benefit. They are systemically removing you from the process and having visibility into what's being taught.
100%.
How it's being taught.
100%. So I actually thanks for the call, JP. You nailed it. I actually got some books sent to me from the some screenshots of what they're teaching in the Clarksville Montgomery School District. This book called My Perspectives. I'm going to dig into it later today after I get off the air and talk about it tomorrow. But you're absolutely right. What they're pushing in the school system, no sane parent would be about it. It's crazy, and it's happening here in Tennessee as well. This isn't just Colorado Springs. And I just got a text from 8207. One of our friends in Murfreesboro said, Chris, having lived in the Springs in the early 1990s, it was a more conservative city due to the huge military populations. Colorado was changed blue by Metro Denver, where half the population of the state resides. Bumper stickers commonly noted, don't Californicate Colorado. But alas, this is how the left works, repopulating conservative states. Arizona was changed the same way. Nashville, Memphis, Knoxville are well on the way to influence our entire state by relocation of liberals. And you're right. You have to be on high alert. My wife always says this. She makes such a good point. She says people shouldn't be allowed to vote in state elections until they've lived here for a couple years. Vote in the federal stuff. But you shouldn't be allowed to vote in local state policy until you've actually lived there for a couple years, which I don't know how that would ever get passed, but I think it's an absolutely based idea. I do have a based wife, not going to lie to you. It is 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time for the news with Ken Weaver.
9:30 on the dot this Wednesday morning. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast coming up in 2 minutes. Hurricane Idalia has weakened to a Cat 2, but still packing a potentially deadly punch, says Maria Villarreal.
We are still expected on the back end of this storm to receive about 75-mile-per-hour wind gusts at times. And so the biggest concern right now for people living in this area, local leaders, is this big wind that starts to come through and the possibility of isolated tornadoes in this area.
Hawaii wildfires update. Alex Stone says the aftermath moving to another phase.
FEMA's cadaver dog teams are coming home. Their job is done. All of the burned out buildings in Lahaina have now been searched. The number of dead remains where it's been for a week at 115.
Yeah, today dive teams doing one final check in the water off the coast of Lahaina for bodies. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hi, I'm Paul Winkler. I've had a financial radio show on WTN for over 20 years. But before that, for about the first 10 years of my career, I worked for a big investment firm. The name of the game was selling and getting assets under management. Then I was introduced to evidence-based investing, driven by academic research and not the sales process. Two big revelations. One was that investing in the stock market wasn't a gambling adventure. I had never thought about it that way. Think about when we invest, you're just gambling your money away and just throwing it into the casino. Well, investing in stocks is really just owning companies. And you think about some of the most successful people in the world are business owners, and you get to be a business owner when you invest in the stock market. It allows you to be part owner of the most successful companies in the world. The second had to do with how you were investing in those companies. In my former role, I was taught that my job was to use my skills to predict the future. Oh, crystal ball, what stocks or market segments are going to do best in the near future? If you listen to investing news sources and investment advisors, you'll find that making predictions is the rule rather than the exception. One recent study shows that 93% of professional managers underperformed the market over the past 15 years in their selection of large U.S. stocks. And it was over 95% that underperformed with small companies. Did you know that you could be tremendously successful as an investor without predicting the future? I believe the first step is education. However, it can't be just any education. We will help you understand what you're doing with your investments, why you're doing it, and what the basics are behind how things work. Then we make recommendations. I want you to be completely confident before you do anything. If that sounds like a winning game plan, set up a free 15-minute phone call at any of our 10 offices around Nashville. Go to paulwinkler.com to schedule a call today.
Yeah, Super Talk 99.7 WTN 937. My name is Chris Hand. So I don't know what's going on. There's one thing for sure. There's one thing for sure. I am out on Vivek Ramaswamy. I am. So I played this on the Gang of Amigos the other day. Al Sharpton was running for president, and he's on hardball with Chris Matthews in 2004. And a member of the audience pops up to ask a question, as they often do. And the member of the audience was none other than Vivek Ramaswamy.
Question here, go ahead. Reverend Sharpton, hello. I'm Vivek, and I want to ask you, last week on the show we had Senator Kerry, and this week and the week before we had Senator Edwards. And my question for you is, of all the Democratic candidates out there, why should I vote for the one with the least political experience?
Well, you shouldn't, because I have the most political experience.
So we laughed, and, it's like, oh, Vivek, he was randomly on hardball, right? That's so weird. And the question, why should I vote for you? You have the least political experience. It's funny because now he's running for president with the least political experience. And that's where I thought it would end, right? But then last night on the internet, mind you, it's the internet, so everything is true on the internet. It turns out that there was another man that we all know and love that was asking questions on hardball as well. And this other man also has ties to the World Economic Forum and Soros. The other guy on hardball that was asking questions was none other than Pete Buttigieg on the same episode.
Same episode, too?
Same episode.
What?
Now,
that's weird.
I want to point out, I'm seeing a lot of people circulating this photo. I haven't seen the actual video. Could not find the actual video of Pete Buttigieg asking the question. So, is it artificial intelligence? Is it a deep fake? Possibly. But a lot of prominent conservatives are sharing this. And isn't it weird? Pete Buttigieg and Vivek Ramaswamy both getting called on to ask questions on MSNBC while Al Sharpton's running for president. Both of these individuals end up running for president in their late 30s. Both of these individuals getting money from the Soros family. Both of these individuals having ties to the World Economic Forum. Super weird. Super weird. I don't have much more on that now, but I just wanted to make you aware of these strange coincidences, because that's all they are at the moment, just coincidences. And it seems like more and more coincidences keep popping up that make me question the reliability of Vivek Ramaswamy. There's a lot of coincidences. Weird. For me, there's only one person that I will vote for in the presidential election. It's not Vivek. Definitely not Joe Biden. It's this guy who's now saying that we have to lock Joe Biden and the rest of the Democrats up.
Will you lock people up?
The answer is you have no choice because they're doing it to us. I always had such great respect for the office of the president, the presidency, but the office of the president, and I never hit Biden as hard as I could have.
So that's Donald Trump talking about locking Joe Biden up on the Glenn Beck program yesterday. And I know it might, you'd be like, yeah, okay. He said the same thing about Hillary. And what happened? Nothing. And to that point, I would say touche. But you have to agree, after how hard they've gone at Donald Trump, it may be time for Trump to take the gloves off. And that's what the former president sounds like he is ready to do.
And then I heard he was trying to indict me, and it was him that was doing it. You know, I don't think he's sharp enough to think about much, but he was there, and he was probably the one giving the order. But he was, hard to believe that he even thinks about that because he's gone. But then I said, well, they're actually trying to indict me because every one of these indictments is him, including Bragg. Bragg put his top people. I don't know if you know this. He put his top person into the office of the Manhattan District Attorney. They've been in total coordination with Fani Willis.
We've been talking about this on the show. Biden's DOJ's meeting with all these people, literally in the office of Alvin Bragg. Unbelievable.
The woman that I never met that they accused me of rape, that's being run by a Democrat operative and paid for by the Democrat Party. So many of these things. I have a couple of other lawsuits, all funded against me by the Democrat Party. These are sick people. These are evil people. And it's an amazing thing. We talk about the public. The public is smarter than anyone can imagine because they understand what's happening. It's really actually driven. I was doing very well before this stuff, but it's really driven my poll numbers up. And you look at these, that basically they're saying I don't have a right to challenge an election.
Yeah, and he does have a right to challenge an election. We played a clip yesterday from 2004, Jerry Nadler, just doing just that. The Democrat from New York questioning the election, questioning voting machines. It was quite based. We have video and audio from Kamala Harris questioning elections. We can go down the list. There's so many Democrats that question these elections. As long as it's Republican winning, you're allowed to say that the election was stolen. You're allowed to say that the election was rigged and all that. But if a Democrat wins and you say anything like that, you're not allowed to question anything. Weird. Joe Biden has a lot of problems coming up. Breitbart now is reporting that Senator Ron Johnson is basically calling on NARA and saying former President Barack Obama should release Joe Biden's emails and records linked to his alias email addresses and accounts. So Senator Ron Johnson told Breitbart News that Biden used a global cell phone, which was paid for by Hunter Biden, also used 3 email aliases to share government information and discuss business with Hunter and associates. And that's according to the Southeastern Legal Foundation. So Ron Johnson's going on and saying, Obama should allow the NARA to release the 5,100 email messages and the 200 pages of records. And they should. They should. Ron Johnson goes on to tell Breitbart, I've been researching Joe Biden's use of private emails since 2021. The 3 letters to Biden, White House, have gone unanswered, and the NARA provided the usual non-response response. House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer has also requested the archives to hand over all documents and communications in which then Vice President Joe Biden used pseudonyms such as Robert Peters, Robin Ware, and J.R.B. Ware. Comer posted on Twitter on Tuesday that the archives need to be transparent and provide these unredacted records to GOP oversight. And they do. Will they? Probably kicking and screaming all the way to doing it. But eventually, I'm sure that they'll have to. And these email aliases are crazy. The Robert Peters one, on Hunter Biden's laptop, he had his dad saved as Pedo Pete. Seriously. This family is sick. The crimes, there's mountains of evidence of these alleged crimes. Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene told Breitbart News that if Republicans are undecided about an impeachment inquiry, it is indicative of Republican failure. And she's absolutely right. Where are we? If you're a Republican and you're undecided about impeachment inquiry, if you're undecided about impeachment in general, I have a hard time believing that you are a Republican. Marjorie Taylor Greene said, we're literally in a crisis in this country if we cannot vote for an impeachment inquiry, and yet with yet another bombshell news story about the corruption, that the secretive nature of Joe Biden. We know it is correspondence with Hunter Biden. Joe Biden is again on record, proven to be lying to the American people about his knowledge and involvement with his son and business partners, Greene added. And she's right. The man is on record lying to the American public. The man needs to be held accountable, and it's going to be a spicy September, October. Greg Kelly was on his show last night on Newsmax, and he said there's a tape. There's a tape that could be coming out. And the tape could lead to damning consequences for the Bidens.
There is an audio tape, I am told, by people in the know. Not necessarily in government, not necessarily out of government. I can't say too much. But there is incontrovertible evidence of Joe Biden's corruption that is about to be made public. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen before Labor Day. but it will happen sometime between Labor Day and Halloween. This tape will be made public. I'm not sure by what entity at this point, but once it is heard, Joe Biden will have, well, he'll have only two options. Number one, he will not be able to remain a candidate for the presidency for re-election. It will be over and done with. The only thing that he might be able to do, potentially, but probably not, is remain as president. I am told this tape is that incriminating, and they're worried about it right now at the White House. They know about it. They know it's out there. There may be more than one, and it makes a lot of sense.
Well, and as we know, the Burisma executive said he recorded conversations with Joe Biden. Is this tape real? Is it going to come out? I could go either way. You know, remember Hannity was always like, tick-tock, 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 and then nothing happens. So it could absolutely be another one of those things where nothing happens. But he put a deadline on it. He did put a deadline on it. He said by Halloween. Now, part of me says, why wait? What are we waiting for? Like, that's the one thing that kills me. It's like, oh, we have all this information and we're going to release it next week. Like, just put it on the internet, man. Like, as we saw with Jaden and his Gadsden flag, once the internet gets a hold of something, it becomes undeniable because everybody echoes it, and our voices are too loud to go unheard. So if you have something like this, release it. There's no reason to wait. Absolutely no reason. Perhaps they're waiting for narrative control, but that seems like a Democrat thing to do. That doesn't seem like a Republican or a conservative thing to do. If it was me and I had this audio tape, I'd release it right away. You know, you don't want to get Seth Riched in a dark alley. You just don't. So if you have the information, put it out there because, there's no telling what these people are capable of to keep their secrets and their skeletons in the closet. So if I was somebody with this tape, I would release it right away. And because it's not being released right away, I hold reservations on if it's even real. Although he put a deadline on it. He said, but somewhere between the day after Labor Day and October 31st. So I'm holding out hope. I'm excited. You know, we have allegedly this tape could be coming out. We have Donald Trump saying that he is willing to lock these people up. It could get spicy, my friends. It could get spicy. It's definitely exciting. It definitely seems like the tide is turning in our favor. Am I hopeful? I don't know. I'm at like 15%. 15% hope. 85% chance nothing comes of it. But there's a little bit of hope. You're telling me there's a chance? You're saying there's a chance. It is 9:50 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Tennessee lawmakers say the special session on public safety is over, but not the work. Idalia's weakened, but is still a potentially deadly hurricane. Life-saving medicine making its way to your neighborhood drugstore. These stories and more coming up at 10 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN 956. So that Greg Kelly audio I just played saying that a tape of Joe Biden that's so incriminating will be released by October 31st. I said, I'm not sure that anything's going to happen with it. And a lot of the super texters say, yeah, we're still waiting for the Kraken to be released. I've gotten multiple texts saying we're still waiting on the Kraken. Yeah, and that's one of those things where it's like you've ruined my optimism. When they were saying, "Oh, the Kraken's about to be released," I remember thinking like, my body is ready. Like, release that. Let's go. And then nothing happened. I remember watching Hannity, probably like you do. TikTok. Okay, let's go. And then nothing happened. So we could be seeing another one of those situations where nothing will happen. However, if Trump is elected, he's now on record saying that he will lock them up. He's going to be forced to. That's what he said on the Glenn Beck show. He literally said, you have no choice because they're doing it to us. And sure, they'll probably use that against him too. They'll say, yeah, well, he's threatening prosecutors and judges now. At least that'll be the argument in court, right? I mean, I know, and he's talking about these deep state bureaucrats, but they'll play dumb. They'll use it as an excuse to try and throw the book at him. It probably won't work. And then, the Democrats will say, Trump's getting preferential treatment, as they literally cobble together these Frankenstein indictments, in order to charge a former president and the front runner for the 2024 election. These guys are so delusional. It is simply astounding. And then, once we get through that, they'll yell about the insurrection again. But then we'll just remind them about the Democrats, how they were cheerleading the armed mob during the Summer of Love. The same armed mob that took over several blocks in the downtown of a major city. Remember the autonomous zone? An actual insurrection. When they had an actual insurrection and a riot in D.C. Then they'll yell Trump incited violence. But it was the Democrats that encouraged people to illegally intimidate Supreme Court justices right up to the point of an assassination attempt. We can go down the list. Like, we can literally counter everything they'll throw at us. So I don't want to get, I don't think anything's going to happen to Trump. I also am unsure anything will happen to Biden. Because even if this video comes out, a lot of super texters are pointing out, they'll just say, it was AI. And they may. But who knows? And 8523 said, Greg Kelly ain't Sean Hannity. He's not. But I still have these emotional wounds, my friends. I'm still scarred. I still am not sure anything is going to happen. It's 9:59 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Ten o'clock on the dot this Wednesday morning. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast in 2 minutes. Right now in Tennessee, 4 bills that provide millions of dollars for mental health services and school safety passed the special session on public safety, which Governor Lee called after the Covenant school shooting. House Majority Leader William Lamberth addressed tempers flaring after Democrats Justin Pearson and Justin Jones got in the face of Speaker Cameron Sexton after adjournment.
There's just no need in that. We can handle issues in a passionate way without getting physical or up in each other's face or yelling and screaming at each other. We've always done that in an orderly society, and specifically within the legislature. I've been very passionate on lots of issues. I'm very disappointed that we didn't get more done in this special session.
Well, House Minority Leader Karen Camper of Memphis says Democrats are angry over no restrictions on access to firearms.
We've done nothing. Wasted time, disrespected people.
Well, lawmakers say work on the 18 bills that were tabled during the special session will continue this fall and during the regular session, which starts in January. Hurricane Idalia update. Rob Marciano just outside of Tampa, about 180 miles south of where the storm made landfall.
Whitecaps and big waves coming in off the water, up and over the top of that seawall. And I'm told that Interstate 278 eastbound has been shut down because that causeway is flooded with a lot of debris. One of the police officers we talked to said this is actually doing a little bit worse as far as the storm surge is concerned than their modeling showed them.
An over-the-counter life-saving drug that can reverse an opioid overdose is starting to ship to drugstores today, says Andy Field on Narcan.
Walgreens says Narcan will be available on store shelves without a prescription as early as next week. The maker suggests a price at just under $45, and the CDC recommends anyone at risk or knows someone who could suffer an opioid overdose should carry Narcan or keep it in their home. It is a nasal spray that can quickly restore breathing after taking too many opioids.
That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, it's Chris Hand for USS, United Structural Systems. Now, I am still kind of new to WTN, but like you, I'm not new to USS. I've heard their commercial on Super Talk for years. Recently, I had a chance to meet these guys. They're just as honest and hardworking as you can imagine. They said to me that they're in an industry where you don't really know you need help in your crawl space until you know you need help in your crawl space. And I found that out the hard way when I had a critter in my crawl space, poked my head down there and realized it's a war zone. I need to get the whole thing encapsulated. Definitely need some help. And so I called my friends at USS. They came over. They took a look. They gave me an estimate, and we're working on a plan to get this thing fixed. And here's the thing. Every plan comes with a custom solution built for your house. It's amazing what they do, and the work that they're doing will fix any crawl space issues you have, whether that's water in your crawl space, whether you're noticing wet basement walls, cracks in your basement floors. If you are seeing those things, it's because your house is trying to tell you something. And if your house is trying to tell you something, give USS a call to check it out. United Structural Systems, 615-488-7855. With 25,000 satisfied customers, I'm confident that you'll be number 25,001. So call USS today, 615-488-7855, online at USSTN.com. They take the stress out of home repair. USSTN.com. (10:05) on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Thank you for joining us on the phone lines, the Super Text line, 615-737-9986. Ann texted in. She said, talking about, this audio tape is going to be released on Joe Biden, incriminating him, said Greg Kelly on Newsmax, and Donald Trump saying, we're going to have to lock these people up because they're doing it to us. Ann texted in and said, This whole thing is like a B-rated movie that has 12 sequels, and the evil guy never gets caught. Yep. It feels like that sometimes, Ann, doesn't it? Pat in Clarksville seems a little bit more optimistic. Pat, you're on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. How are you, Pat?
Hey, good morning. I'm fine. I wanted to call in because, excuse me, you mentioned briefly something about politicians and breaking laws and what have you.
Yeah, it's so weird. It never happens.
Oh, I mean, it's really more vast than I even imagined. I started reading, a few months ago. I started finding books that looked like I could learn from them and understand how we got from where to today.
Mm-hmm.
And the latest book I read just really knocked my socks off, and it kind of brought my face back. And it's a book that just came out, Stealing Your Vote, believe it or not. And it's written by Christina Bobb, and she happens to be an attorney who does work for Trump, and she also works for, One American News?
Yep, OAN.
But, yeah, that's the one. But this book, I thought, this is going to be boring, stealing the vote again, but I couldn't put it down. And I'll tell you, the group that went into this and did all the work and the investigative work and that, unbelievable. What they did, I can't imagine the time it took and the research, but it'll change your whole attitude about the election, believe me.
So what part of the book made you optimistic? Give me the Cliff Notes version.
Well, basically, every time she had her group and they went in and they actually were able to discover the fraudulent activities, that made me feel better. And then I got feeling better when there has been progress made in several of the states that they've changed their policies and what have you. The legislatures have taken action to reduce the opportunity to have a fraudulent election. And, I mean, it was a lot worse than I could ever imagine as far as the fraud. But this woman is bright, and she explains it all. And I don't know. The sad part, though, is that there were quite a few Republicans, and I won't mention names.
Oh, you can mention names. We don't mind that.
Well, I know in some of the states that had the fraud going on, the Republicans who were supposed to stand up for this, at least they say they're Republicans, they did not. All this woman was pushback, but she's tough, believe me, and she works for Mr. Trump, so of course she's tough.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for the call. I really appreciate
it. I just wanted to share that.
No. I appreciate your optimism, and I do. Unfortunately, sometimes I feel like with spineless Republicans, they do more harm than good. But I'll try and remain optimistic. Thank you for the call, Pat. Really appreciate you.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. You can remain optimistic. I get that. However, the left keeps coming after Donald Trump. They keep coming after him. We don't have one district attorney. We don't have one attorney general that's a Republican or a conservative that goes after the left in any meaningful way. But all the left does is they march in lockstep. And everybody says, the impeachment inquiry. We're going to get an impeachment inquiry. Okay. What's the holdup, guys? Kevin McCarthy said day one when he became House Speaker, he would be impeaching Mayorkas. I'm still waiting. He said that he would be, going after Wray and Garland. Still waiting. I don't want to be a doomer. I don't want to be a black pillar. But sometimes it's like, guys, what are we doing? And then you see these activist judges that are in charge of these cases against Trump. So during a hearing on Monday, Judge Tanya Chutkan argued that President Donald Trump's lawyers should have been going through the evidence in the DOJ's January 6th case against him before the indictment was handed down. What? Yeah. No. You heard me right. She's arguing that Donald Trump's lawyers should have been digging through the evidence in the DOJ's January 6th case before the indictment was handed down. Seriously. It's unbelievable. These are the people that we're dealing with. The radical left. So in a transcript of the hearing obtained by Julie Kelly, from Breitbart, Chutkan said that the government hasn't identified any cases in the district where the length of time between the indictment and trial was roughly 5 months, although they did point to the Manafort case in the Eastern District of Virginia, which went to trial roughly 5 months after the superseding indictment. Chutkan went on to say that the manner in which the discovery in this case has been organized indicates that the government has made a considerable effort to expedite review. Oh, all right, great. Prosecutors pushed back against the 2026 start date, arguing that Trump should already be familiar with much of the discovery materials, with prosecutor Molly Gaston writing in the previous court paper that around 3 million pages came from entities associated with Trump. This is a clown show of a trial, an absolute clown show. Hundreds of thousands of other pages have been publicly available, they state, among them the defendant's tweets, Truth Social posts, campaign statements, and court papers involving challenges to the 2020 election by the defendant or his allies. Gaston also said around 1 million pages came from the House Select Committee on January 6th, including a trove of interviews and depositions that she said were already public in redacted form. Oh, all right, yep. So they're already public. They're just redacted. You should know this already. Chutkan, speaking to Trump's attorney, John Lauro, said that he didn't need more time than the March 4th trial date to review the millions of pages of evidence. She said that this evidence, though it may be new to Lauro, is material your client created or material that your client's lawyers, maybe not you specifically, saw and reviewed and had possession of before this case. This is who we're dealing with. This is the left. They are so incredibly corrupt. So incredibly corrupt. Lauro asked for the start date to be delayed until 2026, April 2026, so the defense has time to go through more than the 12 million pages of discovery that have been given to the DOJ given by the DOJ to the defense team. 12 million pages. No. You should be familiar with this already. Unbelievable. Lauro said for a federal prosecutor to suggest that we could go to trial in 4 months is not only absurd, it's a violation of the oath of justice. Amen. We cannot do this in the time frame the government has outlined. So this is unbelievable. 12 million pages. You should know. You should be familiar with this stuff. Crazy. 615-737-9986 if you want to be a part of the conversation on the phone lines or on the super text line. Everybody's kind of saying, yep, this is what we expected. This is what we're up against. Yep. Laura went on to say, sorry. Chutkan said, you suggest that the defense needs a substantial amount of time to investigate. But this has been known. Almost a year has been public knowledge, she said. Lauro continues to argue that there's no obligation for any American citizen to start conducting their own defense during a grand jury investigation and prepare for a trial when we don't even know what the issues are, what the charges are. Well, this is a political persecution, a political witch hunt. And they're after this man. They literally will do anything to get Trump. They'll do anything to get him. Which is why it's hard to disagree with him when he says, we have to lock them up.
The answer is you have no choice because they're doing it to us.
They're doing it to us. They're absolutely doing it to us. And you'll see pushback. You will. They'll use that clip from Glenn Beck, and they'll say Donald Trump is threatening these prosecutors and judges. Just wait. That's going to be the argument in court very soon. They'll just do whatever they can to drag this man through the mud. They will. But on the flip side, they'll do everything they can to position Joe Biden as a champion for America, which is actually how Kamala Harris introduced Joe Biden just the other day. Yesterday. Literally, listen to this.
I want to thank, of course, our nation's champion, President Biden, for your leadership and commitment to lowering costs for working families in every way.
Our hero, Joe Biden. Thank you, President Biden. Thank you. Lowering prices for families in every way.
To lowering costs for working families in every way.
I don't know. Do you feel like he's doing that? Do you feel like he's lowering costs for working families in every way?
Gas prices would say otherwise.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Grocery prices would say otherwise. Here's a good one. Mortgage rates would say otherwise. Could you imagine trying to buy a house right now?
Yes. It's not happening. That's it.
I feel like it's just like the American dream is slowly becoming unattainable. And Joe Biden, he just goes on. He has these speeches, and he's such a champion for working families. Oh, he's lowering drug prices now, guys. The same drug prices that Trump was fighting to lower, and they reversed a lot of it. Now Joe Biden looks at his polls, and he's gonna try and lower drug prices. So thanks, Joe.
A drug company that makes a drug here in America, if it's sold in Chicago, you can buy the same drug in Toronto or Paris cheaper than you can buy it in Toronto. In Chicago.
Oh, thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. What a champion. What a champion. I'm so glad that he fights to lower prices for American families. Like the same way he fights to read a teleprompter. Thank you, Mr. President. And then Mac, you'll get a kick out of this one. Do you want to guess what also he said?
Oh gosh, what did he say?
He said the thing again.
The Financial Times and the Wall Street Journal, I don't think they meant it as a compliment originally, started referring to my economic policy as Bidenomics. Well, guess what? It's working.
He does this every time.
The whisper came back.
Not just the whisper, but the Financial Times and the Wall Street Journal.
Dude,
He's called it, and I don't think it was a compliment. They called it Bidenomics.
He loves that.
He said, and it's like, I could have like an hour of Joe Biden saying just this.
The Financial Times and the Wall Street Journal, I don't think they meant it as a compliment originally, started referring to my economic policy as Bidenomics.
Yep. Thank you. He said the thing again. He also said he's restoring the American dream.
And Bidenomics is just another way of saying restoring the American dream.
Yep. You have to be asleep to believe it. If you think Bidenomics is restoring the American dream. Stole that one from George Carlin, but it's so true today. If you think Biden's restoring the American dream, you have to be asleep to believe it. Billy in Nashville, you have a comment on the Biden administration. What's up, Billy? You're on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Well, I just wanted to also mention that in that press conference, he also said that the drug companies that would not abide with the cuts that he wanted, that he was going to tax at a higher rate. So if he does, guess who the taxes are going to be passed on to?
Ah, geez, I have a thought. Is it you and I, sir?
Yes, sir.
Weird how that always seems to work out that way. And also, I'm not sure that if anybody is going to be going after Big Pharma, it's Joe Biden. I feel like it's just a lot of talk.
Definitely.
Because he'll say, I'm going to tax these drug makers, and then on the flip side, he talks out the other side of his mouth and says, I'm going to be recommending this booster shot for everybody.
Yep, he's costing us more money out of our pocket every day. A lot of people cannot wake up and realize that are the sheeples that follow the Democratic Party.
Well, no, he's not. He's not costing us more every day. He's working harder to lower prices for American families. You must have missed this clip.
I want to thank, of course, our nation's champion, President Biden, for your leadership and commitment to lowering costs for working families in every way.
So he's actually lowering costs in every way, Billy.
I didn't miss that clip, but I know that I'm 65 years old and cannot afford to retire because of him.
Ah, dude, I'm sorry to hear that. This is Biden's. This is Bidenomics. This is Bidenomics in action. I'm sorry to hear that, bud. I really am. Thank you for the call, Billy. And this is just one of the causes of Biden's inflation. You get people like Billy who probably work his butt off his entire life, saves up a nest egg, and then it's wiped out by this inflation that Joe Biden has caused. Unbelievable. I'm pissed off for you, Billy. Seriously. If you want to be a part of the show, super text line, phone call, 615-737-9986. Also, find me on Instagram, Twitter, Truth Social, all of them for me, at Chris Hand on Air. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Got some breaking news out of Washington, D.C. pertaining to former President Trump's attorney, Rudy Giuliani. We'll go over with you. Also, Metro Police now say it was a targeted attack in broad daylight at that Citgo gas station on Brick Church Pike yesterday afternoon. Hurricane Idalia may officially be a killer storm. These stories and more at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. I'm actually watching... I know I'm going to disappoint a lot of people. I'm actually watching CNN in here. Not by choice. Not by choice. Not by choice. Murphy leaves it on.
Oh, it's Murphy's fault.
Murphy show.
It's Murphy's fault.
Well, he does watch it, so we don't have to.
Yep. But I will say this. I'm watching some of this Hurricane Idalia coverage. I saw a gust of wind just absolutely demolish a gas station.
Oh.
Demolish it.
Yikes.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I posted this on Twitter last night. I won't call it X. I posted it on Twitter.
Yes.
Sorry, Elon. Ron DeSantis, a lot of people know how I feel about him when it comes to being a presidential candidate. But as far as being a governor, solid, great governor. Great governor. He's out there. He's got linemen. I think it's 25,000 linemen ready to go. He's putting in work. He is. So kudos to him. The state's lucky that he is the governor. That's not somebody like Gillum. Oh my gosh, could you imagine? What a clown show. What a clown show.
What a ridiculous clown show.
Oh, yep. I mean,
Nancy agrees with you.
Nancy always agrees with me. So we were talking about, what were we talking about? Oh, yeah. We were talking about Joe Biden being the world's champion.
I want to thank, of course, our nation's champion, President Biden, for your leadership and commitment to lowering costs for working families in every way.
Yep, every single way. We had a caller, Billy, who called back, and he mentioned to you that he's paying for these Medicare and Medicaid costs like crazy, right?
Yeah, like $600 a month or something like that.
Jeez.
He's still working. Yeah.
This poor guy.
And think about how many Billies there are just listening to this station, let alone the whole nation.
It's unbelievable, and the inflation is killing people. And thank you for your text at 615-737-9986. Thank you for your calls on the show. I always say it's me, Mac, Ken Weaver, and you. We can't do the show without you. We do the show for you. And, of course, Joe Biden will point out that these Medicare costs are expensive, but if you got your drugs, you can get your drugs cheaper in Toronto than you can in Toronto.
A drug company that makes a drug here in America, if it's sold in Chicago, you can buy the same drug in Toronto or Paris cheaper than you can buy it in Toronto.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. 615-737-9986 is the number to text. You got some good texts coming in?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Chris, it's constant here, right? As you say, the fourth man is a constant part of this show. We've got an 8190. In what world do people believe this crap? They have the illusion that they keep saying it, then they'll make it the truth. BS.
It's literally what they do. It's like the Wizard of Oz. Don't look behind the curtain.
Yeah, don't look.
Don't look behind the curtain.
It's okay.
Just talk to the floating head. just whatever you do, don't look behind the curtain. Unbelievable.
Well, it's a good one. 1833. Chris, they canceled a trip to Pennsylvania for tomorrow. They're afraid to put him out there and get questions.
I think they're afraid to put him out there and have him get booed again. I mean, he got ruthlessly booed when he was asked about Trump's mugshot in Lake Tahoe. Booed in public. And that was in California. That's supposed to be an area where you have support, and they're booing him.
That should be like a bread and butter.
That's a red flag. That's an absolute red flag. I think they're nervous about him getting booed again. Of course, he's been working hard. He may just need a day off.
Yeah, he's only had 3 months or so in the past 3 months. So
he's only taken like a year off this term. Give the man a break. Cut him some slack, guys. He's working hard, and he's just a champion. He's an absolute champion, as Kamala Harris says.
9954. I mean, has figured it all out. I vote to send all of the non-logical people to Mars to start their own colony.
Ooh, based.
Base 9954. Way to go.
All right. I like it. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know. They would, I don't think they'd be fans if we tried to send all the liberals to Mars. No, it probably wouldn't go over well.
Just tell them that they can go by whatever pronouns they want there.
Well, it is the red planet.
It is. It's the red planet. That's the next area they want to turn blue. Illegal immigration to Mars. Unbelievable. All right, 615-737-9986. Your calls coming up next. Right now, the news with Ken Weaver on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast in 2 minutes. Breaking news out of Washington, D.C. Former President Trump's attorney Rudy Giuliani being sanctioned in a defamation lawsuit brought by 2 Georgia election workers who claim to have been the subject of conspiracy theories related to the 2020 presidential election. Politico reporting Giuliani failed to produce evidence in the case as required by the court and is being ordered to pay punitive damages. Right now in Nashville, Metro Police say it was a targeted attack at the Citgo gas station on Brick Church Pike yesterday afternoon. Joylyn Bukovac reports.
Investigators say dozens of shots were fired. A 20-year-old was shot and killed. A second person that was shot was taken to the hospital for treatment.
Well, the person killed identified as 20-year-old Keontae Brown. He was with a friend inside the gas station when the shots came from a vehicle outside. And right now in Florida, with Hurricane Idalia making landfall, almost 250,000 people without power and 2 deaths may be attributed to the storm now. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hi, I'm Paul Winkler. I've had a financial radio show on WTN for over 20 years. But before that, for about the first 10 years of my career, I worked for a big investment firm. The name of the game was selling and getting assets under management. Then I was introduced to evidence-based investing, driven by academic research and not the sales process. 2 big revelations. One was that investing in the stock market wasn't a gambling adventure. I had never thought about it that way. Think about when we invest, you're just gambling your money away and just throwing it into the casino. Well, investing in stocks is really just owning companies. And you think about some of the most successful people in the world are business owners, and you get to be a business owner when you invest in the stock market. It allows you to be part owner of the most successful companies in the world. The second had to do with how you were investing in those companies. In my former role, I was taught that my job was to use my skills to predict the future. Oh, crystal ball, what stocks or market segments are going to do best in the near future? If you listen to investing news sources and investment advisors, you'll find that making predictions is the rule rather than the exception. One recent study shows that 93% of professional managers underperformed the market over the past 15 years in their selection of large U.S. stocks. And it was over 95% that underperformed with small companies. Did you know that you could be tremendously successful as an investor without predicting the future? I believe the first step is education. However, it can't be just any education. We will help you understand what you're doing with your investments, why you're doing it, and what the basics are behind how things work. Then we make recommendations. I want you to be completely confident before you do anything. If that sounds like a winning game plan, set up a free 15-minute phone call at any of our 10 offices around Nashville. Go to paulwinkler.com to schedule a call today.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's Chris Hand. So, I said a second ago, CNN's on in here. And I was watching, and I saw a gas station get ripped apart from this hurricane.
Ugh,
but
terrible.
I also saw something that was kind of wild. A couple guys kayaking down the street in Tampa on CNN. Only in Florida, my friends. Only in Florida. Bear with me because I didn't have a chance to edit this.
All right, Sarah. So we're going to step away from the seriousness of this storm for just 1 second. You got to bear with me because this is something you don't see every day. Guys, what are you doing? Literally, this is a very new way to beat rush hour traffic on Bayshore Boulevard in Tampa. These guys are kayaking down this major thoroughfare.
Only in
Tampa
Florida.
over my shoulder here. I mean, look at that.
Only in Florida.
Wow. That's crazy.
They said it was a kayak. It was actually an inflatable raft.
It doesn't even have this.
It was an inner tube.
I don't want to joke too much. I know people are going through it, but that's Florida for you.
That is.
Yes, sir.
Just they got a 12-pack of beer and an inflatable raft. They're gonna go hit the streets.
They got the Wednesday off. All right.
I mean, that's how they deal with hurricanes in Tampa.
Wow.
Unbelievable. It's classic Florida. The damage from this storm is going to be real. You can see the flooding all over the place. KJP was on CNN with Jake Tapper yesterday, and she was asked, why FEMA's running out of money with all these natural disasters. We see it in Lahaina when they only offer families $700 per household. And FEMA's requesting more money, but they're tying that request for more disaster funds to aid for Ukraine. And Jake Tapper actually asked Karine Jean-Pierre about that.
We just heard from the FEMA director today. She is worried about running out of funding, understandably. She called on Congress to approve the request for another $12 billion in disaster funds so emergency relief efforts are not impacted at all. We should note, Karine, that request for relief is paired, it's combined with requests for more aid for Ukraine, which is more controversial to many in Congress. It might be a sticking point for them. Why not separate the FEMA dollars from the Ukraine dollars so you don't have that problem for those who need this FEMA money as soon as possible?
So the administrator came into the briefing room. She laid that out for the reporters in the room, for Americans who are watching, and she said she'll have more to say. Look, as it in regards to the supplemental funding that the president has asked for, I don't want to get into hypotheticals. The president put forward what he thinks is incredibly important that we need.
Yeah, what a non-answer from Cringe Jean-Pierre. Why are we tying FEMA money to Ukraine money? Maybe, perhaps, people don't care about funding the Ukraine-Russia war. Weird. Maybe we want our tax dollars to help American citizens. Weird. Here's the thing. They just cover for Joe Biden left and right. They cover for his administration left and right. And all of this money to Ukraine is viewed so unfavorably by the majority of Americans, but they still cover for this guy. Karine Jean-Pierre wants everybody to know that people are so impressed with Joe Biden. They're just so impressed.
Back when we were marking the 1 year anniversary, right, of the war in Ukraine, the unprovoked war by Russia, what did the president do? He went to Kyiv, and he was there with the alarms blaring in the back, and people were so impressed that he was able to be there and look strong and represent the American people in Kyiv in a war zone.
Oh yeah, he looked so strong in Kyiv in a war zone. Oh, don't you remember the air raid sirens were going off, you guys? Yeah, we remember. They faked it. They faked the entire thing. Ted Cruz even called out Joe Biden and Zelensky for faking those air raid sirens during the president's visit to Ukraine. It was an absolute joke, much like this entire administration.
Country. And that's what you saw.
I'm not
right?
saying he's not able to walk.
But you're talking about his strength, right? You're talking about how he's looking right now.
He's 80.
That is,
I think like the average American male only lives to be 77 or something.
But here's the thing, Jake. People saw him and were impressed that he was able to do that he was able to be there and present the American people. Look, the president says this all the time. Watch him, right? Watch him. And they
are watching him. That's what I'm saying. That's the 77% who are concerned.
Oh, we're watching him, all right. We're watching him. We're watching him go on vacation all the time. We're watching him repeat the same lines over and over. We're watching him do the creepy whispers. We're watching him fall asleep when he's dealing with victims in Lahaina, recounting their stories about the loved ones they lost. We're watching him talk about how he almost lost his Corvette in a fire and how that's so similar to what happened in Lahaina. Like, we're watching this president. We're watching him fake this appearance of strength in Kyiv with those fake air raid sirens. We're watching him, Karine Jean-Pierre. But believe me, we're watching. And we're not impressed. We're not impressed, despite the fact that she thinks people are so impressed that Joe Biden was able to go to Ukraine in February and look strong. Oh, it's so impressive. It's just, how did we get so lucky, you guys? How did we get so lucky to have a president like this? I mean, geez Louise, we're so impressed. So it's so impressive. And she also wanted to go on and let everybody know Joe Biden has his finger on the pulse of what the American people need. Seriously. This is seriously what she said.
He has his finger on the pulse on what it is that the American people need. He talks about issues that really matter to the American people, and he is delivering. Is there more work to be done? There's always more work to be done, but we are happy to take that on.
Is there more work to be done? There is, and he's going to get to it right after he gets back from vacation, guys. But he's got his finger on the pulse. He's got his ear to the streets. Like, he knows what needs to be done, and he's going to get to it when he gets back from vacation. Let the man take a nap. Let him rest in peace, and he's going to get to it. And the American people are so impressed with that. They're impressed with that. You know, I said the other day, you got to put on your oxygen mask first, and Joe Biden is displaying that every day.
Yeah.
You know, he knows that we have to put our oxygen mask on first. So if he needs a vacation, we need to be impressed with that. If he needs to take a nap, we should be impressed with that. You know, that's good policy in action. You know, he's showing the American people what should be done, not just telling them. He's showing us. Awesome.
Someone needs to have the finger on his pulse, really, is the
priority.
priority.
I honestly think when he fell asleep in Lahaina, somebody was like, is he dead?
Is everything okay?
Did he just die?
Is this it?
And Jake Tapper even said, most American men only live to 77. Like, we're worried about him. She's like, Jake, come on. The people are impressed.
Yeah, what?
They're so impressed. And then she says this, and this is like one of those things that I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, do you even believe this, Karine? Do you even believe this?
It is hard for us to keep up with this president who is constantly working every day to get things done and making sure that we are delivering for the American people. And I think that's what matters. I get it. I get what you're asking me, but the record matters too, Jake.
Oh, the record matters too. It's hard for us to keep up with the president, Jake. Do you see how many messes we have to clean up? How many PR disasters we have to deal with? Like, when he fumbles through a speech, Jake, we have to go to whitehouse.gov and fix the transcript, Jake. Do you know how much work that is? It's hard for us to keep up. We're constantly working every day to keep up with this man and the messes he causes for us. Unbelievable. They just cover for him. They cover for him every step of the ways. And it's not just Karine Jean-Pierre that covers for Joe Biden. Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader in the House, he covers for Joe Biden as well.
CNN poll from earlier this month shows that despite the positive macroeconomic indicators, despite those legislative victories, 63% of Americans disapprove of the way Biden has handled the economy. That disconnect, I know, has flummoxed and frustrated White House officials from when I covered them for the last 2+ years. Why do you think that is? How do you rectify that in your mind?
Well, President Biden, the administration, Democrats in the House and Senate, we've been busy governing, and that's important because we've delivered historic results for the American people on issue after issue after issue.
Oh, yep. You know, guys, we don't worry about polls. We're worried about governing. Thank you, Hakeem. Thank you. Hakeem is also one of those election deniers. I don't know if you've been keeping score at home, but he's one of those. No charges pressed yet for Hakeem denying elections, mind you. But yeah, the Biden administration, they've been busy governing. Give them a break, all right? When they're not on vacation, they're governing. I swear, guys. I swear. That's what they've been busy doing. And by the way, Hakeem points out, have you noticed what Trump's been doing? I love the pivot. He wants to point out Trump's the one that's weaponized Republicans. People often say that the Democrats have weaponized the Department of Justice, but I want to point out Trump, Orange Man, has weaponized the Republicans. Orange Man bad.
They just continue to take orders from Donald Trump, their puppet master in chief, who has directed them to persecute and to go after Joe Biden, which may take the form of an illegitimate impeachment inquiry.
Okay, thanks, Hakeem. Listen, Trump is telling these, he's weaponizing the Republicans, telling them to go after Joe Biden. It's going to take the form. It's going to appear in the form of an illegitimate impeachment inquiry. Don't look at the evidence. Again, it's back to the Wizard of Oz. Don't look behind the curtain, guys. Why are you looking behind the curtain? Don't you dare do that. This is an illegitimate impeachment inquiry that they're looking into, and it's because Donald Trump has weaponized the Republicans. Because clearly, Joe Biden hasn't done anything wrong. There's no evidence that Joe Biden's done anything wrong, and Hakeem, he really points this out, that Joe Biden, he hasn't done anything wrong.
Are you confident when you look at what the Justice Department has done, when you look at the investigations into Hunter Biden that the Republicans have pursued up to this point, that there hasn't been any wrongdoing, everything's been above board?
Yes, I'm extremely confident. The American people know.
That doesn't sound very confident.
That was anti-confident.
Are you confident everything's been above board? As sweating intensifies.
Yeah, exactly.
Sweating intensifies.
Yes, I'm extremely confident.
Extremely, eyeing the whole room.
Yeah, I'm confident. You're not
sure.
confident? I thought this was CNN. I thought I was going to get a softball question.
Yeah, what?
Guys. Yeah, I'm confident. You're confident too, right? We're all confident. Everybody's confident.
The American people know fundamentally that Joe Biden is a good and decent man.
Okay.
Who's dedicated his life to public service.
Yep.
And will continue to serve the people honorably and admirably.
Oh, that's good to know. I have had all of my fears put to rest. Thank you, Mr. Jeffries. Joe Biden. The American people know. Joe Biden is a good and honorable man. I wonder what the super texters think about Joe Biden. Is Joe Biden a good and honorable man who really is just dedicated his life to public service? 615-737-9986. You can call too if you want. Phone lines are open. Do you think Joe Biden is are you confident that he hasn't done anything wrong? Are you confident in that? Hakeem Jeffries doesn't sound very confident.
Yes, I'm extremely confident.
Okay, thanks, Hakeem.
Come on.
Yeah, people are saying absolutely. Joe Biden is definitely putting America first.
Yeah, it's an overwhelming approval here on the super text line.
A lot of sarcasm on the super text line. I didn't know you guys were that sarcastic. I like it. 615-737-9986. People are saying Joe Dirt, Trader Joe. He's dedicated his life to ripping off the American people, says Bill. Thank you, Bill. Yep. He's dedicated his life to getting rich off the government teat, says 2660.
Bingo.
Are you confident that he's dedicated his life to getting rich off of the government?
Yes, I'm extremely confident.
Yep. 6282. He's a ruthless and selfish old man. Yep. A lot of texts coming in. A lot of texts. Some of these I can't read on the air. You guys are vicious. Absolutely vicious. Jeremy texted, he said, it's clear with that questioning from Jake Tapper that CNN is about to break. They can't keep up the trade much longer. LOL. Yes, you're absolutely right. 0324 says, Sloppy Joe, best sung by Adam Sandler. We're going to get that. We're going to get that audio. Sloppy Joe, that's a good call. 0324. Joe, POS, says 5410. Nick said, I'm confident he'd mess up a steel ball with a rubber hammer. Oh, love it. Your call's next and more texts from you. Plus, I have more audio from Karine Jean-Pierre and Chris Coons, Biden campaign co-chair, sticking up for Joe Biden on his age concerns. All that and more on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, it's Chris Hand for Paul Winkler, Inc. If your last name isn't Biden, you probably don't have as secure of a financial future as you should. Luckily, my friends at Paul Winkler, Inc. can help you out. Now, I'm a father to 4 great kids, and me and my wife understand that we have to have a financial plan. Luckily, we got linked up with Paul Winkler, and he's made a huge difference in our future. And because Paul and his team hold themselves to a higher level of fiduciary standard than is required, I got to tell you, due to government regulators, that I'm paid every time this commercial airs. But I'll also tell you, even if I wasn't paid, I would be a client of Paul's. When I got to sit down with Paul, break bread, and have my questions answered, I got to tell that Paul is an honest, good guy. And that means a lot to me. Now, another thing that means a lot to me is Paul and his team don't do anything on commission, which is huge because I know that they're helping me make the right decisions for me and my family, not the right decisions for them and their family. Do you understand? And because of that, I've jumped all in with Paul and his team. Their investment education is evidence-based and backed by Nobel Prize-winning research, so you should check them out. Every office is run by a degreed planner with over 20 years of experience, and you can feel the difference between Paul's team and the rest, so do what I did. Talk to one of his team members. Set up a complimentary 15-minute phone call right now on his website, paulwinkler.com. That's paulwinkler.com, or you can kick it old school, pick up the phone, and call 615-851-1950.
We've got news about a defamation case against former President Trump's attorney, Rudy Giuliani. Police release more information about a broad daylight murder in Nashville. Hurricane Idalia update. And a man who found a bag of cash is now facing up to 5 years in prison. These stories and more at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, kids, if you find a bag of cash, just don't tell anybody. Is that bad advice?
This fella tried doing.
Is that bad advice? I don't know. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. That's the advice Joe Biden would give you.
Hey.
Don't ask any questions.
That's my bag, Jack.
Just give 10% to the big guy and everything's going to be fine. Hakeem Jeffries was asked, are you confident that everything with Joe Biden has been on the up and up? And he said,
yes, I'm extremely confident.
Yeah, he sounds confident. He sounds confident. 0478 said, Hakeem has been smoking Hunter's crack. Have you, Hakeem?
Yes, I'm extremely confident.
Yep. He may have. He may have. Jeez. Getting a lot of let's go Brandon texts. Lots of let's go Brandon texts. 8190 says, it's so funny. Everyone else has to speak for him. Talking about Joe Biden. Yes. Everybody has to defend this guy. Because he can't speak well enough to defend himself. You know, he can't speak at all. Unbelievable. We have more people defending Joe Biden, including Chris Coons. Oh, I have thoughts on Chris Coons. We'll talk about that after the news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Eleven o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 2 minutes. Breaking news out of Washington, D.C., where a federal judge has determined former President Trump attorney Rudy Giuliani forfeits the defamation lawsuit from 2 Georgia election workers against him, a decision which could lead to significant penalties. Giuliani lost because he failed to produce evidence which was subpoenaed by attorneys for Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss as this case moved forward. The mother and daughter asking for unspecified damages after they say they suffered emotional and reputational harm, as well as having their safety put in danger after Giuliani singled them out when he accused them of ballot tampering in Georgia after the 2020 election. Right now in Nashville, Metro Police say it was a targeted attack at the Citgo gas station on Brick Church Pike yesterday afternoon. Joylyn Bukovac reports.
Investigators say dozens of shots were fired. A 20-year-old was shot and killed. A second person that was shot was taken to the hospital for treatment.
The person killed's been identified as 20-year-old Keontae Brown. He was with a friend inside the gas station when the shots came from a vehicle outside. Right now in Florida, Hurricane Idalia making landfall this morning. Almost 250,000 people without power. 2 deaths may be attributed to the storm. Meanwhile, in Savannah, Georgia, Emergency Management Director Dennis Jones.
If you don't have to be outside, please do not be outside. We encourage everybody to shelter in place. This is a dangerous storm. We want to make sure that people are protected as much as possible.
Yeah, the outer bands are going to spin up tornadoes for the next 2 days. A Connecticut man says it felt like he won the lottery when he discovered a bag with nearly $5,000 in cash lying in a parking lot. So he decided to keep it. 3 months later, he's been charged with larceny. Turns out that bag was clearly marked with the bank's insignia, found outside the same bank. But 56-year-old Robert Withington, who runs a dog training business there in Trimble, says he didn't think he was obligated to find the rightful owner. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's Chris Hand. Does anybody else keep getting texts from Nikki Haley? I don't know how she got my phone number.
What?
I'm tired of Nikki Haley texting me. It's like
your favorite.
Happening. Suri wants me to add it as a contact. Says, would you like to add Nikki Haley as a contact? I'm like, no.
Just what? Give me money, basically.
Literally, she said, friend. It's
Aw,
Nikki Haley.
friend.
Like, you're not my friend, pal. Friend.
Jack.
It's not. Yeah, I'm not your buddy, friend. I wanted to let you know the importance of donating just $1 to my campaign. Hey, Nikki. How about no?
Never.
Stop texting me.
Next, it's going to be Vivek just because you're out. Someone's trolling you.
Oh, my
Someone's
gosh.
like, I know he doesn't like Vivek anymore. Let me set him up.
Oh, my gosh. If I start getting texts from Vivek, I'd lose it. Rachel texted in. She says, I get them from Nikki, too. How does Nikki Haley have my phone number? Rachel, how does she have your phone number? Tired of this. Tired of being harassed by Nikki Haley.
That's funny.
And Warhawk Republicans.
You guys are friends.
She's not my friend, pal. I don't like Nikki Haley.
Not your buddy guy.
I've never liked Nikki Haley. All right. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest. Tired of being harassed on the phone by Nikki Haley. And I have replied stop to stop, and then I get them from different numbers.
Oh, come on. That's
It's
ridiculous.
Super weak. Super weak.
6929 says, Murphy have it to her. I don't know what that means.
Oh, Murphy gave it to her.
Murphy gave it. Oh, okay, that makes more sense. I hope so. That'd be fun.
I love the way you read it first. 6929 said, Murphy have it to her?
Murphy have it to her? Wait, what?
What? Are you confident that that's what it said, Mac?
Yes, I'm extremely confident.
Oh, thanks. All right, cool. All right, I got a text from 6598. Said, Chris, two things that make me turn your show off. The very depressing Reaper song and being too critical of the best governor ever, DeSantis. Okay. Didn't I say earlier on the show, DeSantis is a... I just read another text that I can't read on the air. Jeez, why would you send that 1037?
Oh, my gosh.
So, all right, moving on from 1037. That's very inappropriate. I said earlier on the show, DeSantis is a terrible presidential candidate, but I think he is an awesome governor, and he's proving it right now, being on the front lines of this hurricane. He's got 25,000 linemen ready to go, and yeah, great governor. Terrible presidential candidate. So I'm not overly critical of Governor DeSantis. I'm overly critical of presidential candidate DeSantis. Also, I've had a few other texters say keep the Reaper music. They love it. So, yeah, probably going to keep that. And I may be critical of DeSantis. Damn. All right, I thought I was going to try and win you over. I thought I was going to win her over. I don't know if I'm going to. I don't know. I don't know if I can. I don't know.
No.
I don't know. I don't know if I can win you over. I'm so sorry. So sorry. All right. I do know the Democrats can't win us over. They constantly try to cover for Joe Biden. I saw this clip from Fox News, and as you know, everybody knows my feelings about Paul Ryan's Fox News network. Mac, can you enlighten people on my feelings about Fox News?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, they're pretty clear.
Because we're Fox News and we suck.
Yep. All right. So I just want to get that out of the way. But they did have this thing that I thought was funny. They were covering a new poll, and it was Biden word association. All right. So the poll was, what words are the American public associating with Joe Biden?
I don't know, Katie. I look at you go deeper into the NORC poll, the AP NORC poll, and it says, what is the first word or phrase that comes to mind when you think of Joe Biden? And this number is also big when you're talking about these things. I mean, you put them all together. None of these comments are good. It's 49% of the poll. But the number one is 26% say the first thing that comes to mind is old, outdated, retire, elderly, aging, senile, dementia when you're talking about the current president of the United States.
Yeah. Oof. It's rough. It's rough out there for Joe Biden. Me and Mac were joking off the air, and CNN was on in here, and they had one of those bath remodel commercials on. And out of nowhere, I just looked at Mac and I said, Joe Biden probably sits down in the shower.
Great.
Joe Biden is he's sitting down in the shower, guys.
He can't take a bath. That skin's already too pruny.
He's way too pruny. His skin would fall off if he took a bath. But I would like to ask the super texters, what's the first word that comes to your mind when you think of Joe Biden? 615-737-9986. This will be fun. I'm looking forward to them.
Gosh, we've already got. Yeah, Steven said, I thought sleepy. 9285. Yeah, sleepy.
9553 said resident and thief.
Ooh.
Yep.
That's a good one. Liar from 6929.
All right, love it. All right, so we'll get back to your oh geez, they're coming in fast. Chris Coons went on TV to defend Joe Biden and his age concerns. And Chris Coons is one of the campaign co-chairs for Joe Biden. So, he's still holding water for Joe Biden. This is what he said about age concerns for Joe Biden.
What concerns do you have, if any, and how is the campaign going to take this issue head on, which is a real issue that people are talking about publicly and privately?
Well, President Biden is taking this issue head on by continuing to lead, by continuing to show at home and abroad that he is a capable and effective president. As I just referenced, we haven't had as seasoned and capable a leader on the world stage in many years.
What concerns do you have?
Yeah, he's a very capable leader on the world stage, says Chris Coons. Here's one thing that bugs me about Chris Coons. He still defends Joe Biden after Joe Biden basically grabbed his daughter and sniffed her hair in front of the whole world. And he still defends him. Like, is it worth it to sell your soul to defend Joe Biden? Like, Joe Biden literally, quite literally, grabbed your daughter, sniffed her hair. Your daughter looked so uncomfortable and mortified, Chris Coons, and you consistently defend Joe Biden. So if I was going to say the first word that comes to my mind when I think of Joe Biden, creeper, absolute creeper. There's no way. Like, I love Mac, love Ken Weaver. If either of them sniffed my daughter, I wouldn't be able to defend them any longer. It's hard enough to defend you guys as it is.
No, I think we'd exchange more than words if that happened. Yeah,
100%. Chris Coons, sniff my daughter, man. Let me get a cabinet position. Chris Coons is worse than Joe Biden in my eyes. I will judge you 100% on how you take care of your kids. And he doesn't look out for his daughter. He covers for Joe Biden every step of the way. So I asked, we played that Fox News clip. The word association, 49% of Americans, when they think of Joe Biden, they think of old, dementia, all of those things. So I asked what you guys think of Joe Biden when what's the first word that comes to mind? And we're getting some good ones. Pinocchio, failure, pedophile, anvil, resident and thief, prunes, fecal accident at the Vatican. That was more than one word, but we'll allow it. Buffering, blubbering, corruption. Can I say numb? Can I say I'm just going to skip it. Numb something. Diarrhea. 3 words. Piece of blank. Yep. Old taters. That's a good one. Treasonous, traitor, squinty comes to mind.
Squinty, that's a good
squinty. One. Suzanne said crusty. Keith said the FCC rules prevent me from saying it. 7125, swamp scum, imbecile, corn pop. Corn pop. Dementia, onset dementia, senility. I pooped myself. Sniffer in chief. Guys, I asked for one word. I'm going to allow some of these because they're great. Douche canoe.
Nice.
Douche canoe. Puppet. Donkey. Yep. Somebody said my Xbox gamer tag is Biden sniffer.
I saw that.
If you guys want to play games with a based gamer, go find Biden sniffer. Marxist. Foobar. I like that one. Jackass. Pantload Joe. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of good ones coming in, guys. Thank you for that. But the Democrats will defend him. They will. This is what they do. This is what they're paid to do. Defend the sniffer in chief. Somebody said absent. Let the man take a vacation. Right? He should be allowed to take a year of vacation, guys. Karine Jean-Pierre did have a press conference yesterday, believe it or not. And she spent a lot of that time defending the president, as one would imagine.
The president travels across the country pretty regularly to talk about how he's investing in America, how he's lowering costs for Americans. That is one of the, as he speaks about Bidenomics, lowering costs for Americans is clearly one of his top priorities. So you'll continue to hear from the president about this particular issue and other ways that Bidenomics is working for American families and the economy as well.
You know, they keep telling us Bidenomics is working. We don't see it working. We just don't. We just don't. I mean, compared to where we were in 2019 financially versus where we are in 2023 financially, the American way of life has gotten substantially worse. Substantially worse. They can, I will give Karine Jean-Pierre credit. Joe Biden does spend a lot of time telling people Bidenomics is working. That's what he spends a lot of his time doing. It's not actually working, but he spends a lot of his time doing it, so she's not technically lying. She was also asked about the president's feeling on trans women in sports. You know, guys playing girl sports.
Question on the big election topic, transgender rights. Former Governor Nikki Haley and presidential candidate says, quote, the idea that we have biological boys playing in girls' sports, it is the women's issue of our time. Does the president agree that this is a women's rights issue?
So we've talked about this many times. This is the Title IX specifically. Look, and again, we've talked about this multiple times. It's a complicated issue, and there are a wide range of views on this.
It's a complicated issue, and there's a wide range of views. It's actually not very complicated, and the views on it are not a wide range. It's either you're for it or you're against it. That's not a wide range of views. And no, men should not be playing in women's sports with our daughters. So it's not complicated, not a wide range of views on it.
The Department of Education proposed a rule, as you know, that gives schools the flexibility to establish their own athletics policies. And so while establishing guardrails, right, to prevent discrimination against transgender kids. And that is something that is incredibly important that the president wants to make sure that we also do that as well. So I'm just not going to get ahead of that. As I said, there's a proposed rule Title IX, on Title IX that the Department of Education has laid out. So I'm just not going to get ahead of that.
We're just not going to get ahead of it, guys. We're just not. It's a complicated issue. Wide range of views. You know, it's so wide. You're either for it or you're against it. It's one of the widest range of views and issues that we have today. Yay or nay. She was also asked, you know, Joe Biden has granddaughters. How does he feel knowing that he has granddaughters? It's so true. The man is a father. He has a daughter. He has granddaughters. So, you know, where are you at, bro?
Granddaughters, does he care that girls are allowed to compete in sports without fear of injury? Does he think it's fair for girls to have to compete against biological males?
I just answered the question. It is a complicated issue. It is truly a complicated issue with a wide range of views.
It's a complicated issue with a wide range of views, guys. Just answered the question. It's complicated. It's very It's not complicated. Just go on record. Why do you have to say it's complicated? And I understand Joe Biden doesn't acknowledge all of his grandkids, or he just started acknowledging all of them. But this is not a complicated issue. You're either for it or you're against it. It's very simple. It's very simple.
A wide range of views. There is no yes or no answer to this.
It's literally, those are the views. Yes or no. That's literally the only thing. Are you for it? Yes or no? So that's literally what they're asking.
There is no yes or no answer to this. It is complicated. There's a rule that the Department of Education has put forward, and we're going to let that process move forward. It is, again, we want to make sure that while we establish guardrails with this rule, that we also prevent discrimination as well against transgender kids.
Yeah, let's prevent discrimination, at the cost of your daughters. Don't worry if they get a concussion. Not a big deal. We'd rather them not. He's a deep thinker, and it's very complex.
Complicated issue with.
Oh, thank you, Karine. Thank you. Thank you. It is 11:20 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Thank you for being part of the show. If you want to find me off the air, 7 WTN. Hey, it's Jeff Eddy. You may want to make sure that your AC is a little chilly. It's going to get chilly. The guy to call is Jeff Eddy in Efficient Heating and Cooling when it comes to these large home repairs. But Efficient Jeff Eddy and his crew to do what's right, and you can trust them as well because they've proved time and time again that they will do the right thing by you. If you're trying to make that decision to repair or replace your system, if you've already gotten an opinion from somebody else, call Jeff Eddy. A lot of the other companies will just pressure you to replace your system because they make more money that way. Jeff Eddy just wants to do right by you, the customer. And with Efficient, they offer up to 18 months same as cash financing on your next unit. They're a diamond contractor with Mitsubishi Electric and an Elite Pro partner with Rheem. Go to efficienthvac.net or call 615-784-4424.
A federal judge says former President Trump attorney Rudy Giuliani has to forfeit a defamation lawsuit brought against him. Metro Police now calling that a targeted attack, a broad daylight murder yesterday. Details on that. Also, Hurricane Idalia making landfall there in Florida. Now it's moving into Georgia. These stories are more at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. My name is Chris Hand. Find me on social media. At Chris Hand on Air on Twitter, Instagram, Truth Social. I just got a text from Keith. Chris, is it base or based? Just a 62-year-old trying to get hip. Well, Keith, my friend, it's based with a D on the end. And might I add, sir, you're already based.
Boom.
Already hip.
Certified based.
You don't need to worry about it. You're listening to the most based station in Nashville.
Dang straight.
You got street cred, Keith. Don't worry. Super Talk 99.7. I got another text. Chris, this is from 6305. That's how everybody starts a lot of these texts. Chris, I can only assume that's how they say it. Could just be like, Chris, is KJP really that stupid? Or is she and everyone in the Biden administration just liars like he is? Can't it be both, 6305? Can't it be both? I mean, those checks keep coming in. So just say whatever you can to get that money, baby. That's what it's about. Karen texted in, said it sounds like Jean Pierre is just reading from a script and does not believe anything she's saying. Yep. That sounds about right.
If you watch those pressers, she's constantly looking in the book, flipping.
Oh my gosh. She doesn't have any original thoughts. No. I mean, how many times did she say that the trans athletes in women's sports it's complicated? There's a wide range of issues here.
It is truly a complicated issue with a wide range of views. There is no yes or no answer to this. It is complicated. There's a rule that the Department of Education has put forward, and we're going to let that process move forward. It is, again, we want to make sure that while we establish guardrails with this rule, that we also prevent discrimination as well against transgender kids. But again, a complicated issue with.
I mean, she said in about 20 seconds there, she said it's complicated 4 times. This is so complicated, you guys. This is the most complicated issue of our time. Like Ukraine and Russia, easy. The border, nothing. Trans kids and girls sports, whoa, pump the brakes. This is complicated. There's a wide range of views. It's complicated. All right, guys. Don't get ahead of yourselves. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. This is a very complicated issue. It is 11:29 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$11:30 on the dot. This Wednesday morning, I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast in 2 minutes. Right now in Washington, D.C., a federal judge says former President Trump attorney Rudy Giuliani forfeits a defamation lawsuit brought by 2 Georgia election officials who claimed their lives were threatened after claims of ballot tampering. Giuliani loses because he failed to produce evidence subpoenaed by the attorneys for Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss as the case moved forward. Right now in Nashville, Metro Police say it was a targeted attack at the Citgo gas station on Brick Church Pike yesterday afternoon. Joylyn Bukovac reports dozens of shots were fired. A 20-year-old was killed, another person injured.
Witnesses told our crew that they were terrified as they took cover once they heard the gunshots. Now, law enforcement, they collected more than 24 shell casings at the scene there.
20-year-old Keontae Brown was with a friend inside the gas station. When those shots came from a vehicle outside, Brown killed. Right now in Florida with Hurricane Idalia, almost 250,000 people without power. 2 deaths may be attributed to the storm. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hi, I'm Paul Winkler. I've had a financial radio show on WTN for over 20 years. But before that, for about the first 10 years of my career, I worked for a big investment firm. The name of the game was selling and getting assets under management. Then I was introduced to evidence-based investing, driven by academic research and not the sales process. Two big revelations. One was that investing in the stock market wasn't a gambling adventure. I had never thought about it that way. Think about when we invest, you're just gambling your money away and just throwing it into the casino. Well, investing in stocks is really just owning companies. And you think about some of the most successful people in the world are business owners, and you get to be a business owner when you invest in the stock market. It allows you to be part owner of the most successful companies in the world. The second had to do with how you were investing in those companies. In my former role, I was taught that my job was to use my skills to predict the future. Oh, crystal ball, what stocks or market segments are going to do best in the near future? If you listen to investing news sources and investment advisors, you'll find that making predictions is the rule rather than the exception. One recent study shows that 93% of professional managers underperformed the market over the past 15 years in their selection of large U.S. stocks. And it was over 95% that underperformed with small companies. Did you know that you could be tremendously successful as an investor without predicting the future? I believe the first step is education. However, it can't be just any education. We will help you understand what you're doing with your investments, why you're doing it, and what the basics are behind how things work. Then we make recommendations. I want you to be completely confident before you do anything. If that sounds like a winning game plan, set up a free 15-minute phone call at any of our 10 offices around Nashville. Go to paulwinkler.com to schedule a call today.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's going on? It's Chris Hand. So Tucker Carlson did a show and just released it on his Twitter with the Prime Minister of Hungary, Viktor Orban. As you know, Hungary is a border country with Ukraine. And he asked the Prime Minister of Hungary, how would you fix the Ukraine-Russia conflict? It's amazing the answer that Tucker gets. Tucker's been doing some wild reporting. Listen to this.
So if you were in charge of NATO, if you were, say, Joe Biden, what would your next move be in the war in Ukraine? What would you do?
Peace, immediately. Call back Trump. That's the only way out.
Call back Trump.
Call back Trump. because, you know, you can criticize him for many reasons. I understand all the discussion, but, you know, the best foreign policy of the recent several decades belong to him.
100%. Best foreign policy of the last several decades belongs to Trump. It was one of those areas that people were actually very nervous about with Donald Trump, but it's hard to disagree that that was one of his, if not his biggest strength, foreign policy. And the Prime Minister of Hungary, Viktor Orban, continues on.
He did not initiate any new war.
Yes.
He treated nicely the North Koreans and Russia, even the Chinese, you know. He delivered a policy which was the best one for Middle East, Abraham Accords.
Yes.
So that was a very good foreign policy. He's criticized that he's not educated enough to understand the world. This is not the case. Facts count, and his foreign policy was the best one for the world in the last several decades I have seen. And if he would have been the president at the moment of the Russian invasion started, no, it would be not possible to do that by the Russians. So Trump is the man who can save the Western world and probably the human beings in the globe as well. That's my personal conviction.
That was the Prime Minister of Hungary, Viktor Orban. And Tucker Carlson is he's making some waves right now on the internet, is he not, Mac?
Who he is. I mean, you showed me on the break. Wow.
All right, so I had this audio planned to play from the Prime Minister of Hungary and Tucker, this interview, right? And as we're about to go to break, a video is going viral currently as we speak. And I don't want to pass judgment, but this is Tucker Carlson. And I point out that I still played a little clip of that conversation he had with the Hungary Prime Minister. Tucker has had conversations with Vivek Ramaswamy. He's had conversations with Donald Trump. He's had conversations with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Devon Archer. He's in the know. And I just say he's in the know. And that's what I'm going to preface this clip with. But this is currently going viral as we speak.
You know, everybody I knew, the world I lived in Northwest D.C., like everyone works either directly for the government or is a parasite on government effectively, including people I love and know really well. And the media is too, by the way. I mean, the media is reporting on government, but it's also dependent on government.
Here it comes.
You know, in 2008, it became really clear that Barack Obama had been having sex with men and smoking crack. And a guy came forward, Larry Sinclair, and said, I'll sign an affidavit. And he did. I'll take a lie detector. And he did. I smoked crack with Barack Obama and had sex with him. Well, that was obviously true. Nobody reported it, not because they were squeamish about sex or drugs, but because the Obama campaign said anyone who reports on this gets no access to the Obama campaign.
Okay. Whoa.
There's
a lot to break down there. Not only is he saying that the accusations that Barack Obama were gay and using drugs are true, which he stated, he's also saying that they basically threatened the media to not cover the story. Whoa. Unbelievable. Ron asked us, what's going on with your live stream? It's not working. Maybe it's because we're getting too close to the truth here. All right. Can you play that one more time? We're reacting to this live, and we're hearing this live the same way you are. This is Tucker Carlson discussing Barack Obama. And I'll be honest with you, I have a hard time not believing Tucker Carlson.
You know, everybody I knew, the world I lived in Northwest D.C., like everyone works either directly for the government or is a parasite on government effectively, including people I love and know really well. And the media is too, by the way. I mean, the media is reporting on government, but it's also dependent on government. You know, in 2008, it became really clear that Barack Obama had been having sex with men and smoking crack. And a guy came forward, Larry Sinclair, and said, I'll sign an affidavit. And he did. I'll take a lie detector. And he did. I smoked crack with Barack Obama and had sex with him. Well, that was obviously true. Nobody reported it, not because they were squeamish about sex or drugs, but because the Obama campaign said Anyone who reports on this gets no access to the Obama campaign.
Whoa. That is an explosive allegation. That's going viral currently on the internet. Not only is he saying that Barack Obama is gay, but that he threatened the press that if they covered that story, they would get no coverage, no access to the Obama White House. Now, I will point out, these are not new accusations for Barack Obama. The new part of this is that Tucker Carlson is saying it's true. The new part of this is that he's saying that the Obama administration threatened the press that if they covered it, you wouldn't get access to the White House. And again, I want to point out, these accusations aren't true. I mean, Donald Trump Jr. was just joking about this on his podcast the other night.
Is Michelle Obama a dude? Listen, I'm not allowed to talk about these things because, right, you get called a conspiracy theorist by the mainstream media. But I will say, have you ever seen a picture of her pregnant? Just kidding. That's it. I haven't, but I'm sure she's lovely.
So the jokes have been there for quite a while. The jokes have definitely been there for quite a while. But what do you think about this? What are your initial thoughts and reaction? Let me know on the super text line, 615-737-9986. There's more to this video that I have not heard yet. Mac, play the rest of that video after the Barack Obama accusation, and then can we keep our finger on the dump button? I don't think Tucker swears. He doesn't seem like a guy that curses.
But I'll monitor.
Just in case.
And so they didn't report on it. So that happens. That's just one small example, but that happens all the time with lots of different issues.
Now, do you believe that transpired, or do you believe the guy is legitimate, or both?
Oh, the Larry Sinclair story? Oh, that definitely happened. Oh, for sure. I mean, I've talked to Larry Sinclair about it, and definitely it happened. I mean, Larry Sinclair's been in and out of prison during one period. I mean, 40 years ago, he was in and out of prison. He's got a criminal record by definition. He's, poor. He's got a disordered life. He's missing a tooth. Like, he's not, an Atlantic fellow. He's not going to the Aspen Ideas Festival. I think he has a record of deception. Obviously, he does. But this story, if you listen to it in detail, is clearly true. I mean, I'm going to do an interview with him and you can hear it. And again, it's not going to change the world that Barack Obama likes dudes. I think this was well known. Barack Obama said so himself in a letter to his girlfriend. And by the way, that's kind of Barack Obama's business. I'm not attacking him for liking dudes. I'm just saying the amount of lying in the media about it was unbelievable. Like, people knew this was true, and it was quite obviously true at the time. And people who covered the campaign didn't say anything about it because they didn't want to lose access to the campaign. And that happens all the time up and down government. So it's almost like if you have a housekeeper, you think, she works for me. But if you have a housekeeper long enough, you realize, well, you actually work for her.
Okay,
and you get caught up in her dramas.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack there. So not only is he saying that he's saying it's absolutely true. He's also pointing out that this Larry Sinclair feller has a checkered past. And that's probably how they'll attack him. He also says, he doesn't care that Barack Obama likes dudes, and I don't think that that's the lead. I think the lead is that Tucker's confirming it to be true. Now, this is something that we kind of knew about as just a few weeks ago. This was August 14th, Monday, August 14th. Obama love letters resurfaced from 1982, where he said, "I make love to men daily, but in the imagination," and people were accusing him of being gay because of these letters that he wrote when he was 21. So this letter was written in November of 1982 when a 21-year-old Obama was a student at Occidental College in Los Angeles. It was a letter to his ex-girlfriend. So that's the letters that he's referencing there. But I mean, that's pretty wild. That's pretty wild. 8335 texted in and said, "So a crackhead felon makes an accusation against Barack Obama, and Tucker Carlson eats it up and tells us that the allegations are all true. Really? It could be true. It could not be true. I don't know. But that's a hell of a flimsy character witness to hang your hat on with absolutely no corroboration at all. Okay, well, I think that you bring up a great point. You bring up a great point, 8335. It is a hell of an accusation to hang on a witness with a checkered past. What I would say in rebuttal is that you're burying the lead. The lead is that, not that he's gay, like whatever, moving on. The lead is that he threatened the press if they covered the story that they wouldn't have access to the Obama White House. Now, Tucker was in those circles in media at the time. So I don't know if he's hanging his hat on this character witness. I don't know if he's hanging his hat on that, or is he hanging his hat on the fact that people were told that they covered the story, they wouldn't have access to the Obama White House. And does that give the character witness more credence? Like, does it give him more credibility if the accusations are true that they were told they wouldn't cover it in the press, or the press wouldn't have access to the Obama White House if they covered it? Crazy stuff. Absolutely crazy stuff. It's going viral right now. And I agree with you, 8335. A crackhead felon makes an accusation against Barack Obama. I don't know if that's what Tucker Carlson's eating up, or if Tucker Carlson is saying it's true because of the other statements that he probably got from people in the press corroborating it. I don't know. Time will tell. I think this is going to be a big, big story today. It is 11:47 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Find me off air, Twitter, Instagram, Truth Social, at Chris Hand on air. Hit the follow button. I'll follow back. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand, joined by Matt Murphy. The Matt Murphy Show is up next. Mac, are you hyped for the Matt Murphy Show, bro?
Oh, man, it's going to be lit.
It's going to be so lit. I'm so hyped.
It's awful.
It's going to be sick.
It's going to be based.
Very based.
Is it wrong of me that it bothers me you don't use the past tense? I mean, there's a past tense, right? You've got to be hyped.
We're too young to be living in the past, bro.
That's it, man.
We're focused on the future. If you don't understand,
Hey, talk radio show for younger generations.
I tweeted at Mac last night on the Twitters, and I said I tagged a picture of the UVA Tech game.
Right.
And I said, "Are you hype, bro? I'm hype, bro."
You hype, bro. And I was
you
confused.
hype, bro?
I'm like, is this a different language? Are we talking?
Murphy just starts tweeting at us to get off his lawn.
I mean, are we in Uruguay? I don't understand what we're talking about. My question is, what are you hyped for? Are you hyped for Tennessee? Are you you're Virginia, right?
I'm just hyped, bro. I'm hyped for the experience.
I'm hyped, bro.
No, so my wife grew up outside of Charlottesville. So they like UVA.
Are y'all going?
Yeah, my mother and father-in-law are in town. We're all going to go to the game.
He's hyped
to lose.
Yeah, you're going to lose.
I'm not losing anything.
No, it's a big winner for you.
I'm going there
taking
to
your
enjoy.
wife, taking the in-laws, right?
Yeah, the in-laws,
come
all
on.
the kids.
That'll be
All
fun.
the kids
You're
are
right.
going.
Oh, yeah.
You're right. That's a win.
It's a big win.
That's a dub. That's a victory.
It's a family day.
Yeah.
And we're
That's
going to
nice.
get to see Mac.
Are you there? You going?
Yeah, I'm going to go. Yeah.
It's like everybody's going. I'm not going. So I guess
Thank
everybody's
God.
going. If I were going, though, I'd be the guy in the hat. So just so
I
everybody
love how you say that. Hey, have you heard the Tucker stuff going viral?
I have not.
All right, play it.
You know, everybody I knew, the world I lived in Northwest DC, like everyone works either directly for the government or is a parasite on government effectively, including people I love and know really well. And the media is too, by the way. I mean, the media is reporting on government, but it's also dependent on government. You know, in 2008, it became really clear that Barack Obama had been having sex with men and smoking crack. And a guy came forward, Larry Sinclair, and said, I'll sign an affidavit. And he did. I'll take a lie detector. And he did. I smoked crack with Barack Obama and had sex with him. Well, that was obviously true. Nobody reported it, not because they were squeamish about sex or drugs, but because the Obama campaign said anyone who reports on this gets no access to the Obama campaign.
Initial reaction.
Okay, if nobody reported it, how did I already know that rumor existed? Because we talked about it in 2008.
I don't know.
Secondarily, I mean, Donald Trump had sex with multiple hookers. Does that matter?
Stormy Daniels was an actress.
I mean, my initial reaction is I mean, if his point is that the media doesn't cover certain stories because of an access point or a lack of access, I understand that. That's valid.
That's that. So I thought the lead was that the Obama administration threatened the media, if you cover this, you don't get access. Because the rumors were there. Yes, the rumors have been there for a long time. But no like actual mainstream outlets
it was an undercurrent. But the rumor was that this all happened years before. Like, yes. I think Obama admitted doing cocaine and various drugs in his book, Dream is My Father.
And it just came out 2 weeks ago, those love letters with his girlfriend.
So, and I don't want to be accused of taking up for the Obama administration, but if I'm running for president and these rumors exist and I tell you I'm not going to do an interview if your interview is going to focus on something that happened with me in college, I mean that's just the way it has always gone. I don't know what to tell you. I would suggest to you that the Trump campaign would not do an interview with someone that would sit there and just talk about Stormy Daniels.
But it doesn't sound like he's saying it was an interview. He's saying if you cover it, you don't get access. And the mainstream media had no problem covering all the stuff for Trump.
Well, that's true. I mean, but the mainstream media is in the bag for Democrats. I mean, if that's the point, then Tucker Carlson has a great point. The mainstream media is in the bag for Democrats.
I think it's interesting. It's going viral right now. Matt Murphy's up next. Hang out with him. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.